Hey everyone, Dr. Brian Scott with you this morning. This is Insight to the End Times. We're examining the scriptures in the Bible, looking at them from a perspective of end times. Where are we in God's timetable? We're about to see the world wrap up here. It's coming to a close according to all the things we have studied over this past year. Today is March 25. This is episode 312. That represents the end of our very first year of the Insight to End Time podcast. You can find all of our previous podcasts on our website, insighttotheendtimes.com. They'll be a blessing to you. Today, we're continuing our study on one of the major signs that points to the end days, and that sign is ignorance. The ignorance that people have towards the scriptures, particularly. The world's really advancing in many different ways. We have computer advancements that are unbelievable. We have health advancements that are just unheard of, and so on and so forth. It's just absolutely beyond comprehension how much advancement we've had because of the computer age. But at the same time, we've seen a decline and a deterioration in the importance of the scriptures, in the importance of churches, in the importance of truth. And that's what we're talking about here, ignorance. Ignorance is rejecting things of truth. And now we're seeing words thrown around all the time. This is misinformation. This is disinformation. And so on and so forth. We're in a verse called Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. It says, "My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge because they've rejected knowledge." My people are destroyed by their ignorance of God's word. And yesterday we looked at other verses that talk about ignorance. Today I want to look at some statistics that I have come across over the years. In the year 2010, I wrote a book called Get Rid of Stinking Thinking. It addressed a lot of statistics on the deterioration in our population, in their knowledge level, and so on. I want to share some of those things with you because ignorance and a lack of knowledge are common factors that go into our core beliefs and our core values. What you believe and the values you follow in your life are dependent upon what you have learned, what you know, what you've experienced. But this lack of knowledge and this ignorance that's permeating our society means our core values and our core beliefs are going downhill instead of uphill. I want to share what I found when I wrote that book. Now keep in mind, I wrote it in 2010, and boy, have there been changes since 2010. But here are some really startling statistics for you to be aware of. A 5-year-old child establishes and knows 50% of their decision-making skills by the time they are 5 years of age. They have established some values and beliefs that affect and bring their decision-making skills into place at 5 years of age. Isn't that amazing? 50%. Now, a teenager, by the time he hits 18 years of age, or she hits 18 years of age, they've established 85% of their decision-making abilities. That means they have established essentially 85% of their core values and their core beliefs. Again, amazing. That was in 2010. If we look now, 13 years later, in 2023, if we look now at where they are, I would say that probably a 15-year-old has established 90 to 95% of their decision-making skills because they now have access to the internet, to smartphones, to smartwatches, and so on and so on and so on. They have so much access, it is unbelievable to the information that they are looking at and making decisions based on that. So where does a 5-year-old learn? Most children today, a goodly number of them, I don't know the percentage, but a goodly number are in daycare centers because both parents work, or might be a parent home, and they have to work. So the kids are in a daycare center. And most daycare centers are not the principal place that they're going to learn the kind of life skills that will impact their decision-making abilities. From my exposure to that, I'd say this is a low low chance of them getting the kind of stuff that you really want them to have. Where does an 18-year-old or a 16-year-old get? They're going to school for the most part, and our school systems today are so socialistic, they're so liberal, they're so woke oriented that it's just unbelievable how they're being trained and how they're being taught. Boy, they're being taught all the things that you don't want them to know, and so on and so forth. And when you come across this next statistic, look at this, listen to this. 95% of your daily activities are done subconsciously without you giving any thought to them. You're not prearranging your thoughts to make the decisions. You jump in your car, you turn the key, or you press a button, away you go. You aren't thinking in terms of, how does this engine work? What do I need a map so I can get to the end of the street? Do I know how to get to my place of work, which I've gone to for 22 years? Do I know how to make a cup of coffee without instructions? Do I know how to boil an egg without getting out some encyclopedias? No, you do all this subconsciously because you've done it over and over again. That means your core values and your core beliefs are dictating and directing how you live and how you think and what you do and how you act and how you react. And so for the most part, your core values and your core beliefs being that they're 95% controlled by your subconscious realm, you're not even open to learning in most cases. Don't try and teach me anything. I don't want to be taught. Here's another statistic before we run out of time. This is coming from a 2000 survey, so it surely needs to be updated. But at that time, 80% of high school grads never read another book the rest of their life. 80% of students who graduate high school never read another book the rest of their life. Now, at the same time as that statistic came out, we learned that about 69% of students graduate from high school. That means 31% don't graduate. And of the 69% that do graduate, 80% of them don't read another book. So when you do all the math here, we have 20% of the 69% read another book. That means 14%. 1 in 7 young people into their middle ages will read another book. How are you going to learn? Here's another statistic that just came out. An average young person reads 8 minutes a day. 8 minutes a day, and almost all of that is on their cell phone, on their smartphone, or on their laptop. And the stuff they're reading there doesn't really stir them. You know, it's not challenging. It's gossip. It's all kinds of nonsense. So my point through all these little statistics, which all need to be updated, obviously, and probably not for the better, here's what it shows us. People in general, their ability to reason, to analyze, to think, has become progressively worse and worse. They're subject to deception and seduction very, very easily. They will follow demonic doctrines because they don't know any better. They are able to access all kinds of information, but they don't come to know or understand things. Their ability to think is crippled. This results in tremendous ignorance, which results in an affinity to be deceived, to be seduced, and to pay attention to demonic doctrines. Major signs of the end days, and it's happening right under our noses with our kids in both the junior level, the high school level, and thereafter, and we don't even realize it's occurring. I'll see you next week as we begin year number 2. Thanks for joining us today. See you then. Bye.